with a majority of Germans saying that the country remains more divided than united.
Yeah, 100%.
And the East Germans...
Germans in chat, how do you Germans in chat feel about that? Just the other day I was with friends. I was with friends and we talked about stuff, yeah, and this friend talked about the statistic where how much money do people on average inherit, right, on the death of their parents, right? And West Germany, massive numbers. Bavaria, man, thousands of dollars. East Germany, almost zero, man, almost zero.
States still lagging behind on a number of key metrics. So in this video, we're going to take a look at why this is by exploring...
And once again, I think I always believe that radical thoughts like right-wing extremism or left-wing extremism grows mostly because of the incompetence of democratic leadership. If the German government, which is mostly till this day West Germans, we had one East German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, if they would have invested into East Germany more and put them in the same boat and worked with them, they wouldn't feel so left behind nowadays and all vote AFD, man.
The persistent East-West differences, explaining some of the root causes, and
my home.
Taking a look at the reunification process itself. Let's start by taking a look at exactly where Eastern Germany lags behind Western Germany.
Everything,
beginning with GDP per capita,
GDP, income, inheritance, capital, ownership.
With GDPs per capita...
It was so crazy. When I was buying this apartment, me and Lisa, we walked around all of Leipzig looking at apartments to buy, right? And they were all in the hands of West Germans and Russians, nothing else. There was not a single East German that owned anything here, man. And now it's going up slowly. I think now in Leipzig, one of the upcoming biggest cities of the whole yellow area, now 60% of... This is something I'm very interested in, as you can see. Thank you, good Mac. 60% of, how to say, real estate now belongs to East Germans. 60%.
32,000
30 years after the reunification.
36,000 euros. Well below the German average of just under 46,000.
Let's just talk. I talk about. I have a friend, a YouTuber called Der Dunkle Parabelritter, and we talked about this in the German content creation scene of Twitch and YouTubers. The top 100 has no East Germans in it, man. No YouTuber, etc., is from East Germany, man.
In 2022, the average yearly salary in Eastern Germany was around 13,000 euros less than it was in the West.
You're friends with him? I'm kind of real life friends with
distribution of wealth, yes. There's an even starker difference. With the median wealth of a household in Eastern Germany at 43,400 euros in 2021, compared to 127,900 in Western Germany. But that's not all. Unemployment has also been persistently higher in the East than the West. With the latest data from September 2020.
Yeah, imagine Korea would unite, right? North Korea will be lagging behind for probably 100 fucking years, man.
3 showing Eastern Germany with an unemployment rate of 7.1%.
That's pretty high, man.
And Western Germany with 5.4%. The continued differences aren't limited to economics either. For example, looking into religion.
And very important, I read articles about this. When a government says, hey, our unemployment rate is 7%, that is a lie. What Germany and a lot of the world did is they did a thing called Niedriglohnsektor. It means a low-income sector. What that means is the government in Germany has created certain jobs, like €1 jobs or half-day jobs. It's jobs that almost make the same money as being unemployed. You get the same money as an unemployed person, almost. But in the statistics, you are considered employed, even though your job is, if you look at human rights and stuff, not a real fucking job, right? And this is millions of people, man, that would actually be part of the unemployment statistic, and they're just fucking lying with these statistics, man.
Religion, specifically Christianity, the former border is still very clear due to the East government's promotion of atheism and hostility towards religion. East Germany is also notably older than Western Germany, reflecting the post-reunification exodus of young Germans from Eastern states to West.
Oh, I never thought about that, yeah. Young Germans left East Germany to find money in the West. I never thought about that. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like personally now you start seeing, 30 years later, you see a young generation of Germans bringing prosperity, like someone like me, or friends I have young East Germans that have good jobs and make good money and can start buying their own fucking apartments and houses. And slowly now you have a generation of people that can get something done.
And the collapse of the fertility rate in the East following reunification.
Oh man, no one was fucking, man.
With all of this in mind, particularly on the economic front, it might not be surprising to see a significant proportion of Germans still seeing their country as pretty divided. In fact, a study from early this year found that 60% of Germans think that their country is more divided than united. And that
100%.
pessimism is even more stark in Eastern Germany, where 75%...
And whose fault is it? As I always say, it's Adolf Hitler's fault. I always think about Adolf Hitler's butterfly effect, man. If Hitler never did his bullshit, this would never have happened right now, man. And this is, in my opinion, a great example of what's happening all across the world. You see it with Democrats and Republicans in the US. It's that we're divided in our own countries. And we don't understand that if we just work together, if we shut the fuck up about dumb shit and work together, we're so strong. Imagine in America, where they stop shitting on each other all the time, man. How strong would they be? Same with Germany, man. It's what the elites want. It's what the top 1% wants, man. They want us to be divided, man, you know? It's the dumbest shit ever.
Feel that the divisions still prevail. Now, to understand these persistent
Vienna's art
divisions,
school
we're going to have
fault?
to go back to the...
Imagine you're the one guy. Imagine you're the guy that has declined Adolf Hitler from art school. You are responsible for East Germans voting AfD in 2024.
Late 1980s and early 1990s, around the time of German reunification. Unsurprisingly, the political and economic systems of the two Germanys were incredibly different. West Germany, officially the Federal Republic of Germany, was a capitalist country firmly within the Western Alliance and part of the European Economic Community. Meanwhile, East Germany, officially the German Democratic Republic, was a socialist country within the Soviet Union's sphere of influence.
And I have to say this once again, I say this every stream. Doesn't that just feel like a TV show? I believe that the world, the human race, is a TV show. There's no God, there's no heaven. We are a TV show for aliens. I mean, look at this. There's like a country that starts 2 world wars and then they get divided and everybody's mad all the time and shit. And everything always repeats itself. It's like a fucking TV show.
As you can probably
imagine, someone wrote this, like a script.
Reunifying these two systems was never going to be a simple task.
We're fucking
West
TV show,
Germany
bro.
had experienced a post-war economic miracle and had grown into one of Europe's most developed countries, with its productivity far outstripping its eastern counterpart by the time of reunification. Now, this reunification process didn't actually see the two states dissolve and emerge as a new third state with some sort of hybrid system. Rather, what actually happened was the dissolution of East Germany and its subsequent absorption by West Germany.
We got a next,
That's
man.
because one of the major features of reunification
How do East
was
Germans
the
read their
mass
Prussian heritage? There's no
privatization of
Prussians.
East
No one.
German company.
If I right now go to the marketplace and we ask 100 people about Prussia, no one gives a fuck. No one knows Prussia is not a thing here. The only people in Germany that know about Prussia is weird ass gamers that play HOI4 and read books about the best World War II tanks. And number 2, right-wing extremists, the weird people, man.
Rapidly carried out by a government agency called the Treuhandenstaat. By the end of its operations,
that is the biggest mafia of all times. What they did is when East Germany fell, they took all that belonged to the communist state, and this is the biggest mafia shit ever, man. It's all fucked. So there was this organization, and they had everything. They owned kind of East Germany, and they were like, "We're now selling this stuff." So the West Germans came. They're like, "Hello, Treuhand. I give you some money and you give me a bunch of houses? Sure, here you go." And they sold everything. They sold it all off, man. They sold East Germany to rich people that made so much money from these investments, man.
Thousands of previously state-owned enterprises covering some 4 million jobs. This brought about significant economic turmoil in Eastern Germany, as many of these enterprises found
Where's the money now in West Germany?
unable...
You have to understand, this is something I'm very interested in. I think about this a lot. Okay, that's East Germany. This is East Germany. It fell. And the moment it fell, the Treuhand will sell all the belongings. Because in a communist state, nothing belonged to people. Most of it didn't belong to people. It all belonged to the government. So all these investors came in from West Germany. Also Russians. I know that for a fact. Russians. And they bought everything. So East Germany was fucking 80% owned by not East Germans, man, you know? And it was sold off. And the point is, I know, for example, about this apartment. This apartment here was sold to a West German rich white doctor for like 200K, right? And he just sold it for 450,000, right? Like just my apartment. And this was, he bought it in like 2000 or some shit. And he sold it in 2023. Like, what an investment. What an unbelievable investment. And this is just one guy. And there's millions of people that profit of this. And this is why, in my opinion, one of the main reasons, one of many reasons, why East Germans are so mad and are so fucking mad all the time. You sold us out. You sold us. We own nothing, man. Look at my parents' generation, man. They own nothing. They own jack shit, man. If they're lucky, they have the house, man, because they work their fucking ass off, bro. We don't own shit. We have no politicians in Berlin. we have nothing, man. And then you wonder that everybody's fucking mad here? What they should have done, which will never happen because capitalism and money, they should have taken all the belongings of East Germany and divided across the East Germans, man. This way we would have had a chance to keep up with West Germany, right? But obviously that's never going to happen.
Heat in the free market
Just a little
they've
dream.
been thrust into. And even the most productive Eastern German enterprises...
I don't think that's enough reason to explain people voting for AfD. Well, if you would listen 10 seconds ago, I said one of many reasons. Thanks for listening.
...were typically bought up by investors and companies from Western Germany, who had better access to financial capital. Now, Eastern German businesses struggled for a few reasons, not least because of the rapid introduction of the West German Deutschmark as the official currency of East Germany in
so old,
July
I still had that, man. I remember
1990,
that.
which quickly pushed up Eastern German wages and therefore business costs. But also because consumers in the East...
And my whole life, I was around East Germans, right? Older people, and they all have the same story, that they had a kind of normal life, and in 1991, all their businesses failed. They all... Like, my grandpa, he was a tailor. My stepdad, he was a butcher, right? And what happened is that the West Germans came into our markets and they had such cheap products, they will take over the market instantly. And all the East German companies had to go bankrupt, right? Everyone here has these stories. Everyone's parents, they all have the same story. They all lost their jobs. Their entire life fell apart, right? And that's why you have they started drinking alcohol, man. They started being fucking mad and shit like that. In East Germany, my dad was a gigachat, man. He was like a huge roofer, man. And then he never got over the unification, man. And it fucked so many. It killed a lot of people. A lot of people suicided, alcoholism, etc.
East was shifting towards spending more money.
As you can see, I'm very
Western-made
emotional
products,
about this topic.
While Eastern
Not emotional, but like
businesses
interested,
lost their traditional
informed,
markets
and
in the Eastern Bloc. As a result of all of this, the industrial output...
And now
of the
we
East
wonder why. I guarantee you, chat, next year you will see, next year you're going to hear in the news, East German states will have voted for right-wing populist party. We're going to get right-wing populist governments in East Germany probably next year. And then again, it's kind of logical, man. You know, I'm not for them. I don't like the AfD, but it's just logical. If you fuck people up like this for 33 years, you think they're just going to... show you their ass so you can fuck it?
plummeted, and there was a sharp rise in unemployment.
Do you think unifying was a bad thing? Obviously not.
German...
The bad thing is that the Allies should have fucked up the Russians, man, and be like, East German is ours, you fucking Russians.
economy lost
Or
some
we're going to
2.5
Moscow. That guy who said we have to keep going to Moscow, man, he was just right, man. He was just right.
million jobs in the 3 years between 1989 and 1992. And the period was also marked by an exodus of largely working-age Germans moving from the east of the country to the west, seeking jobs, higher living standards, and more.
Yeah, that's not true.
In fact, between 1990, the year of reunification, and 2016, the eastern states lost 1.2 million people to the western states. Ultimately, it's hard to overstate the turbulence that Eastern Germany experienced in the reunification period. As Angela Merkel, herself a former East German citizen, reflected on in 2021, too little attention has been given to the fact that for the vast majority of people in the West, reunification meant that things continued as they had before. While for us East Germans, almost everything changed. Politics, the workplace.
But Mrs. Merkel, my question will then be why in 16 years of you leading the country, nothing has been done to help out East Germany.
Now, it's worth quickly noting that these persistent economic differences that we described earlier are meant to imply that Western
will have
Germany
40%
is a
AfD,
shiny
probably, yeah.
utopia,
And
while the eastern states are a
it seems
wasteland.
logical to me, man.
That's because there's significant variation between the regions themselves, and inequality is obviously not just limited to an east-west axis. In fact, the German government's commissioner for East Germany this year said that the differences between urban and rural areas across Germany were often more stark than the differences between Eastern and Western Germany. Nevertheless, in the 3 decades since reunification, the government has injected some $2 trillion into Eastern Germany in the forms of things like social benefits, infrastructure upgrades, and more. And to be fair, a lot of progress has been made in closing the East-West gap.
That is true too.
Wages, disposable income, living...
What is that? A John gifted sub? Isn't she long-range cancel? Yeah, 16 months, 16 years, months.
standards and productivity all rose pretty
It's
rapidly
like throwing money at a problem doesn't fix it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you need fucking businesses in East
in the
Germany.
first few years,
Which is
and
over
have
time happening.
continued
It
to
happened.
rise, albeit at a slower pace. Over
Like
the
I said, I
following
feel like
decades.
now is the time
In
where
fact,
East
the
Germany
net
finally
migration of people from east
grows.
to west ended.
Like I live in Leipzig, right? Like right here, which is prospering massively. It is growing so big. And this brings me back to the point of West Germans saying RB Leipzig is not a real football team, man. Oh, this entire area had no fucking football team in the Champions League for fucking 30 years, man. Because let's talk about football. Let's talk to the people that don't like RB Leipzig, the Germans in the chat, the retards that know nothing, man. When the wall fell, what happened? The same thing as with the capital. The West Germans came in, they bought all our good football players, man. They destroyed all the football clubs, man. And East Germany had zero football. And for once in a lifetime, because we now use capitalism like you guys did for fucking millions of years, man. Because we have Red Bull, we finally have some high-level football in Leipzig. They're paying millions of dollars. The city is growing everywhere. There's building sites. The city is so sick, man. And I have to listen to West Germans like Tommy Schmidt. I have to listen to them and like, oh, RB Leipzig isn't a real team. Anyway, I want to help. We shouldn't divide, right?
in the mid-2010s, and there's
wanted to
actually
get
been
that out
some
there.
movement back the other way. Additionally, in the last few years, there's been a shift in Germany's industrial geography, with Chancellor Olaf Scholz declaring in 2022 that Eastern Germany is now one of the most attractive economic regions in Europe. Tesla's first European manufacturing site was opened in 2022 in
They almost couldn't open it because there was a law that they can't build there because there's a very rare frog breed living there. That's German bureaucracy, man. I had that in law school. I was looking at cases like that. Look how big Poland is, man. Poland is so big. What happened there, guys? Anyway, yeah, they almost couldn't build it because of frogs.
Brandenburg. And Saxony has been dubbed Silicon Saxony due to its growth as a semiconductor hub. With 1 in 3 microchips
Yeah, that's where I live, and you can see that a lot here. There's a lot of growth here, which I fucking love, man.
being produced
But
in
it took
Europe,
30
coming
years
from
of
the
blood,
States,
sweat, and tears,
which
man.
host companies including Infineon, Bosch, XFAB, and Global Foundries. Meanwhile, US tech giant Intel is planning on building a multi-billion-euro microchip plant in Magdeburg.
Poor frogs, man.
But all of this has come as perceptions of German unity have gotten worse over the past few years. So evidently there is more work to be done, not just on the economic front, but
I wonder how much Red Bull had to pay for this team. No, this is not how that works. The way it worked with Leipzig is they looked for a random as nobody team, SV Markranstädt, which was a team, a nobody team. It was a village. And Red Bull bought that team and then built them up. That's how they did
so
it.
socially and
They didn't like
culturally,
buy
too.
a really
In
big
fact,
team.
if you want to learn
They
more
built up a small
about
team.
divides across Europe, a year or so ago, we surveyed our audience to learn more about the East-West split on the continent
It could be
as
worse.
a whole.
We East Europeans always
That
get shit
video,
on.
including
Yeah, but
the
I
data on
can't
where that
compare
split
this with-
really lies, which
That's not
countries are
making
Eastern
sense.
and which are Western.
Oh, is it done? Oh, shit. I clicked away. Okay. What are you still doing here, mate? Jeez. Well, if you want to see more, click these videos. Have fun. Looking good, boy.